Freedom. What does it mean to be free? Many times we talk about being free means I can do anything I want to do, which you can do. But the thing that you don't realize is that the science of the universe will dictate the outcome of what you do. And if you don't understand how people are made and that we're different than animals, you'll make decisions and want things that don't match how you're designed. The secular world believes that everything's physical. So all their solutions are in the physical, not realizing that there's a spiritual component to mankind that animals don't have. I got a dog, and he's a great dog. He's very intelligent and all that kind of thing. But he'd be perfectly happy as long as he's got food, water, place a little yard to run around. He's fine with that because he doesn't wake up with purpose. But people are designed with purpose in mind. And the secular world doesn't understand it. That's why they're approaching us the way they do. Now, those in authority that are of the secular mindset, and we have a secular government and all that, so they really don't understand that there's a spiritual. They don't even want to acknowledge that, except on the negative. But if you look at us as simply animals with no spirit or soul, and that we just die and just turn back to dust, then you don't understand that people need purpose. They're designed to accomplish things. So people that think like that, they come up with policies that assume that all you need is food and water, a place to live, make sure you're comfortable, and then all you have to do is sit back and live. But that is pure hell. That doesn't work for people. I mean, look at some of the systems that we've got now and how it's and the results of that. I mean, they're trying to put everybody on a check and coming up with this socialist society where you can just, you just live and everybody's just the same and everybody's equal the same and all that kind of stuff. And none of that matches how people are designed or how God designed the world. And the ways they're trying to deal with us, brothers and sisters, they want to send us a check and take care of our every need. And it completely ignored the spiritual need that we have to have a reason, that we have a fingerprint that God has given us. And that fingerprint indicates that there's a purpose for us in the world. And anybody that's not fulfilling that, they'll be happy for a while. You'll be happy for a while getting that check and everything, but get yourself a year or two doing that. And then what? Look at the effect of the welfare system on our society, especially on our communities. That system specifically is an example of how wrong it is to try to set people up to just get a check and to live, because you take away all the purpose that person has to be here. And that's given by God. That's called oppression. And oppression attempts to destroy the desire of self-determination. In other words, in these systems, they set you up so that I decide what's best for you. I decide where you live. I'm going to make sure you got the right television set. I'm going to make sure you're warm and this and this and that. And you don't have any self-determination, because whoever pays the bills calls the shot. And if you're going to be absolutely free, you got to be paying your own bills. But those in authority, thinking that we're just animals, don't want that. And can't figure out why this system, every place they've tried it, doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because it doesn't fit the science of the universe. Oppression destroys the desire for self-determination. And that's called the possession of the soul. It sucks out your insides. And that's what's happening to all the people that are on these welfare systems and all those other things. Now, everybody wants to help the black and brown people and all that. But look at the things that they're offering. I mean, they're going to walk around with kente cloths on and going to bow down and give you homage and just okie doke. Putting up monuments to us and putting up monuments to people that don't deserve monuments because of the criminal background that they got. All kinds of things are happening, trying to placate us because they think that we're simply animals and don't have a spiritual need for purpose. But you can see right through that. Even down to this whole vaccine issue. I mean, I didn't believe it. I just saw they are in one of the eastern states, the governor has declared that they're not going to give, they're going to give the black and brown people the vaccine first, and they're not going to give it to any white people. Come on, how that sound? I mean, that's a placate move, and at the same time, that's a suspicious thing for me. I mean, okay, you white people made the vaccine, okay, but you're not gonna take the vaccine. You're gonna give it to me first, and I'm supposed to jump in that line? None of that's right. But the whole problem with that whole scenario is that they're only thinking in now. There's no thinking about future. It is immature thinking to only think of now. And that's all you hear people talking. In the colleges, they're teaching people to think, just think about right. And they do short-term solutions on things. And like some of the decisions they're even making in the government. I mean, the coronavirus. It was expedient. Shut down the country. We gotta stop the virus. But the remedy has been much worse than what the disease was. I mean, because they only considered that the same way they deal with the forest. They'd be talking about maintain the environment. And in California, they keep having these California fires because they don't want to kill certain animals in the woods because, if you cleared the forest out, it might be detrimental to the forest. So they leave it all down there, not looking at the big problem, which is when it catches on fire, it's all going to burn up anyway. Short-term thinking. Same with the pipeline. They shut down the pipeline, talking about they're trying to be environmentally friendly, and sent our gas and jobs to another country who's not going to do it nearly as well as we were doing it from an environmental standpoint, and jack the prices of everybody in the country and all of that. And it was not thought through. It's not thought through. They only deal with the one issue that's in front of them. Like they said, what's going through the Indian reservation? Well, the Indians are going to get paid for the. I mean, just pay them for it to go through. What the heck? I mean, but you don't become energy dependent on the world, because that sets us up to be everybody's victim. And they're acting as if the world's going to be the way they want it to be. And it's not. It's not. And that's why everybody's laughing at us now. And that kind of thinking doesn't think anything about history. I mean, you can look back and see all the patterns of every civilization that's taken the path that we've taken has been destroyed by doing that. And one of the first things that happens when people begin to turn from God and all that is they begin to cast off all restraint, and then all kinds of sexual immorality happens. And in every civilization in the past, before they went down, these things happened, and it's happening now. Now, maturity looks at a longer term solution at things. This 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after thinking is childlike at the very least. And all the decisions that they're making are like that. Like the way they're dealing with the border. Those kids are coming up here because they're in danger down in Honduras. So let them come. Well, what about what's happening to the rest of the country and the world? They're coming up here now. Now we're putting them in cages again. And then they want to take my money and just blow it in a situation that I don't agree with. That is not right. See, in that kind of an environment, like I said, a secular government does things like, they don't come in like, okay, for instance, if you want to do something for us, let the people that live in the inner city get school vouchers, so they have a chance to allow their kids to get out of that environment and be exposed to another way of life. Because without knowing what's possible, the only options they have is to perpetuate what's going on. The selling the drugs and all those other kinds of things. And school is not a priority because who cares? They're not seeing the value of school. A person that's has long-term thinking, thinks about going to school later in life. They're able to They don't run out and buy a big car and a big TV set when they don't have a place to live, and we operate based on what we got people. What we want people to think about us, so we got to look good and look the part and play the part and all this kind of stuff, and we are messing up. I mean, good grief. If they really want to do something, and if we really want to do something, we need to stop telling our kids that you can say anything, look any kind of way, and do whatever you want and still be successful in life. You can't do that. When I was, in corporate America early on, I was just as foolish as the rest of them because I didn't know no better, but I would go to work and I had this big old afro and fist on my back and all this kind of stuff, but I had on my tie when I came in the door, and I rode in on a big old motorcycle and couldn't figure out why I was having problems and walking around with an attitude, and nobody would tell me. I worked for a man, one of my jobs, I was out there for about a year and a half. And one day I'm walking down the hallway. I was responsible for the line and roads, and it was a building manager type job. I was responsible for being responsible for being the site building manager, and one of it was being responsible for the dock. And when I went out there and took the job, packages it was taking 3 or 4 days to get from the dock to a person's office, and that was the standard when I got there. So I said, okay. So I just kept it at that level. And about 6-8 months into the job, I'm walking down the hallway and some guy jumped me and he talking about, this is unexcusable. I've been looking for that package for 3 days. And he chewing me out. I'm going, well, what's wrong with you? It takes 5 days to get there. I went in and talked to my boss, and he opened the drawer and said, well, Doug, here's what's been going on. And he had all these letters, hate mail about me and what was wrong with my job and what I wasn't doing. And I had no clue. He didn't want to tell me because he didn't want to put the pressure on me. That's oppression. That's oppression. It takes away my ability for self-determination. And that's what they're doing to us now. They're offering us okie-doke stuff. I don't want no monuments or any of that kind of stuff. If you're going to do something for the black community, then do it. What we don't need is to go out and start handing people phones and giving them little trinkets and things to placate them, treating them as non-contributing animals. We're not, And so to be free, what God means when he says to be free, here's a couple of things that you can expect. First, to be free from guilt and condemnation. You ain't got to walk around all the time apologizing because you know that you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Well, you got to embrace that so that you know that you're made the way you're supposed to be, and you have all the abilities and you have everything everybody else has, and you're not less than. Second, to be free from anger and bitterness. You can let it go. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You ain't got to get even all the time. To be free from worry and anxiety. Well, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and God will give you a peace that's beyond all understanding. And none of these things happen in animals. We're not animals. We are in the image and likeness of God. And that's why the satanic kingdom hates us so bad. And that's why they have to come and use us, because we have the authority over the earth. We have God's authority over the earth. And the only authority that any spirit has in this realm is through us. You can be free to. You don't have to be. You're not under pressure to try to impress nobody. We spend so much time doing that kind of stuff. We got our kids now with tattoos down the middle of their face and walking around, got our hair sticking out like this, and walking in with our pants hanging down and trying to and we will not tell them that you can't win looking like that. You can't win. What they're trying to do is set it up so that you can do anything you want to do and decide on the outcome. Well, the science of the universe doesn't let you do that. You can do what you want. I can pick up this pencil, but if I choose to let it go, it's not going to stay here. It's going to fall. That's the science of the universe. And that's what we're talking about people and everything else. I mean, and it was just talking about how my wife told me about, she was in the grocery store the other day and told me she heard a lady, she was outdone on the phone in the grocery store. And what she had found out is that her daughter, this black woman, her daughter went on a field trip with the school. She was a college thing. The women that was running it, and the way it was set up is that the students were scholarshiped. They took the whole trip for something like $300 or something like that, and the school was going to pick up the rest. Or it was funded. At any rate, what my wife heard, she heard the lady. She just went off in the store. She went off, and what her daughter had called her from the school, from the trip, all upset. They had been told that they were going to have a twerking contest, and whoever could come in there and twerk the best, they wouldn't have to pay the $300. Come on, us. That's the kind of thinking that we're running into. And we're not free as long as we're thinking that. So if I want to close, I just want to close and just say this one thing. If you want to be truly free, you got to pay your own way and not just be thinking about today, but be thinking about tomorrow. And the Bible says, what is a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. You can't truly be free until you're free up here. And if you're not, and when God brings you deliverance and tells you who you are, you no longer have to prove anything to anybody. You are then truly free. And you know that this world was set up for you, and it changes your whole perspective. So what's the point today? Don't patronize us. If you want to, like I said, if you guys want to do something for the black community, start with giving people an opportunity to have self-determination and give them school choice. Don't be trying to bow down and give statues and why is it every time we got to have something we got to be going? How come we got to be doing that all the time? What's up with that? I mean, there's more to life than just a good time, Charlie. We're not a bunch of kids. So, in a nutshell, to be free, you got to be free up here. And that means you take responsibility for yourself. You can't be looking for somebody to blame for your problems. And you can't allow somebody to take your problems on and tell you that, oh, you poor thing. Because I almost feel like they're trying to pat me on the head. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, you poor thing. You can't help it. You can't help it. Those black folks can't help it. No. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. And every born again believer knows that. And you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You got to need to apologize for nothing. And don't come at me with this okie doke of bowing down and giving me lip service. Like I said, send some new books to my schools in downtown and allow the parents to have the choice to empower their children to go elsewhere and get them abortion clinics out of our neighborhoods. Do some things that are meaningful. And us, don't be talking about giving us phones and giving us toys and giving us things like that, because we're not animals. We are human beings who are here to make an impact on this world. And don't you leave here without doing what you came here to do. In Jesus' name, amen.